Hi, we're going to show you today how to wet felt a pumpkin. We have another video that shows you how to needle felt a pumpkin, but this one is a little bit easier for small hands. There's no needles involved. So we're going to start with the materials that we have. We're going to use some orange wool, a decent amount for our pumpkin. We're going to have a little bit of green wool if we want to, sorry that glare, to make some leaves or vines, and then a little brown wool for the stem. We also want to have some soap. Now you can just use regular dish soap or hand soap or a soap bar. I have a felted soap bar, but a regular soap bar works fine. A little water spray bottle. If you don't have a spray bottle, you can just dribble water on. That's fine too. And then a bowl with water, just lukewarm water with just a dash of vinegar in it. And we're going to use it at the end to get all of the soap out of our pumpkin. We also want to have on our table some towel, just because it's going to get a little bit wet, and then some sort of barrier for the water and the soap. I just have this beeswax piece here, but you could use any plastic or just another towel. And then something plastic that's going to help the wool kind of move. So I have bubble wrap, that's ideal, but you can use any sort of plastic. Again, you could just use saran wrap to go on your bottom. On the top, I have some sort of mesh. So this is actually plastic cheesecloth. I really love this bag that I have for, it's kind of for kombucha making and that sort of thing. And cheese making, of course. But you could use tulle from a dress or, anything meshy that you have. So something that has little holes in it and that's essentially not going to stick to our wool. You don't need to have this. If you just have another piece of plastic on top, which is what we're going to do, is we're going to have this piece of plastic, the wool, and then another or piece on top, which is either plastic or the mesh, that's fine. This is just even easier, and it stops the wool from sticking to it. So that is everything that we have, and we're going to go ahead and get started. I also have a pair of scissors for cutting out a perfect shape at the end. So we're going to begin by taking out our orange wool, pulling off little pieces, and here's where you kind of decide what shape and size your pumpkin is, and just laying it down all in one direction. So I'm going to have Gunnar start doing that, my little helper here. And we want to have 3 layers all in alternating directions. That helps the wool to felt together easier for us. So he's got 4 pieces laid this way, doesn't want that. And now we're going to lay a couple pieces in the opposite direction. I can kind of fan it out here so it's not quite as thick. That got a little long. And it's okay if you put pieces on top of each other. They're all going to stick together in the end. So thicker is better than thinner here. Okay, layer 2. And now I'm going to do a final layer on top, going the opposite direction. Do you want to put that one on like this? So you're making a crisscross pattern like tic-tac-toe. You can do more layers if you want. 3 is just a really good place to start. If I end up getting any holes in this as I'm felting, I can just put another piece on top and felt that on.
That's why I put these little ones here.
Yep, so he's got his extra here ready to go. Okay, so we're just going to start with the orange for now. Sorry, there's a glare coming in the windows at this point. I'm going to wet you want to do it?
Sure.
Wet my wool. Until it's pretty wet, so keep going. And at this point I could add some soap if I want to, but if I'm using my soap bar, I'm just going to wait for a second. You want it to be pretty saturated, so I'm going to keep giving it a couple more sprays. And you can always take it off and add some more water if you need to. It's a pretty forgiving project. So now I'm going to put either my extra plastic or my mesh on top and get it soapy before I try to start felting. Now I can see when I squeeze this down, it's not really getting that flat. It's still pretty bubbly. I think I need a little bit more water. If there's too much water, I can just kind of tilt it to the side so it runs off, or get another towel and set it on top. Not a big deal. Again, very forgiving. All right, now I'm going to grab my soap and start rubbing it until it starts getting soapy on top. Do you want to do this?
Mm-hmm.
And you're kind of holding it at this point, still holding the wool a little bit in place. And this is felting, rubbing, 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 and the wool is eventually going to essentially stick together and make your pumpkin in this case. This is how they used to make fabric for clothes way before we had cotton and, all of the inventions that we have today. I should say before people harvested cotton. We had cotton. So you just you can see a little bit where he's working the soap in. It gets thinner, and it's going to keep doing that until we're done. So he's going to keep working over his wool creation until he's kind of done all of the areas. And this is where I might add a little soap to help him out. I got sunny on you, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And you're just going to rub it in. Rubbing is actually what's felting it. So you can keep using that bar, or you can just use your hands as well. You want enough water and enough soap so that it's getting sudsy. I'm going to keep adding a little more water and a little more soap.
I'm going to add some right over here.
He's going to add some soap, and I'm going to close the blinds.
Better.
Much better.
You can see the blue.
Yeah, the blue soap, you can kind of see it, but that's okay. So we're going to keep just rubbing and rubbing and rubbing. And after you see that your creation has kind of become a thin, flat sheet, we're going to pull it up and actually turn it over so it doesn't get too stuck to our mesh. If you have plastic, you don't have that issue, but it's nice to be rubbing on directly that side so you can still flip it over. Some pieces will get a little bit loose. Just keep working that in. This is a really fun activity for
kids,
busy little hands who are bored in the winter. You're going to get soapy. Just keep going. All right. So in a second, I think I'll take the mesh off and see what our pumpkin looks like.
You don't want to be going too fast.
I'm going too fast, apparently. I think we're shaking the table.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's take off the cover and see what we have in our first round here. I'm able to pull it all off. The mesh is still coming off, so that's good. And you can see now I have one sheet of orange pumpkin. I'm going to flip it over. And yep, we can rub the other side. You don't have to keep using the mesh. Once it kind of gets felted, it's going to felt even faster with just your hands. But be gentle. I kind of see where there's pieces I'm pulling away. So keep just rubbing, rubbing, rubbing.
You're going a little too fast.
I'm still going too fast for beginner. See if there's any holes or thin spots. You can always add more wool at this point. And if your little one is getting bored, that's okay. As long as it's kind of together as one piece, it's going to stay together. So that's fine. But if you want to get it really tightly together, keep going or keep them busy. And I'll just keep flipping it and rubbing the next side. Somehow we didn't get any holes this time, so we got it. There's a little bit of a thin spot on the end here, so we'll cut that off. But we got it thick enough. It has this beautiful different shades of orange throughout. It looks really nice. I'm pretty happy with it. So now I think is a good time. We're going to try to add our stem. So figure out what shape you want the pumpkin to be. We're going to kind of cut it. Do you want it to be long like this or tall like this?
I'll have it kind of like a regular pumpkin, just round.
Like this?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to just grab some brown here and add it towards the top. And I'll be able to cut this stem to look a little bit more like a stem in the end. That's okay. That's fine. But for now, I'm just going to kind of mat it down. My hands are plenty soapy and wet. And start slowly rubbing it on. I think I'll put my mesh on to make it easy. You want to rub your stem on?
Mm-hmm. So where's the stem right there?
The brown. It's still done. Pretty good. Now just keep rubbing it. If you see a little area that's loose, just focus on rubbing that area.
Mom, don't just go like this. It's
okay.
Because if you go like this, it's going to come off.
The harder you do it, the tighter it's going to be in the end. Don't pull it too hard yet. If you wanted to, you could also make your stem by itself and then glue it on or needle felt it on. If you wanted it to have a little bit of dimension. So we gotta rub this side of the stem on. All right, let's flip it over a little bit.
It looks better on
It looks better on this side, he says. Got my little stem. You can see the stem's little fingers on this side, but not on this side, and he likes it more on this side. It looks like a cute little pumpkin you get at the store, so. All right, you could keep doing this for hours, really, and it's just going to get harder and thicker. Or you can call it good if you're done. I'm going to rub my stem just a little bit more.
Very soapy.
It's very soapy, he says. And in a second, we're going to get rid of all of that soap real quick. I would say right here, we probably could have added a little bit more wool. See if I can get it to connect. On the edges is really where you might have some thin spots.
But you'll be cutting that off.
Yep, you'll be cutting that off, so don't worry about it. All right. All right, you done?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's over it. Okay. So we are going to put, I could just put this in some water and just keep scrubbing it like this. The more I rub it, the tighter it's going to stay and thicker it's going to get. But he's done. So I'm going to grab my vinegar bowl here and just put this in here, and that's going to get all the soap off. All right, I would probably do it again because there's a lot of soap in here, but to save time for the video, we'll say, sure, the soap is out of this.
Here.
All right, unroll it. Thanks. I'm gonna move my soapy mess here. Okay, let's lay it down and see how you want to cut it. Probably be easiest for you to dry it, but for our video, we'll go ahead and cut it now. So take a peek at it and see kind of how you want to cut out your pumpkin. Do you want to do it or you want me to do it?
I feel like you're better than I am
Okay.
at cutting.
Let me dry my hands a bit. All right, so let's see my real quick pumpkin here. I'm going to try to leave some of the fun side pieces. We got a little bit light at the top, so make sure you make it thick throughout. I think these would be really fun placemats or just even a placemat activity for Thanksgiving for kids who kind of need something to do while the parents chat that isn't too loud or super messy. You can only get so messy with soap, so that might actually be cleaning the kids up more than making a mess.
Yeah, I washed my hands at least.
I'm going to trim. I kind of like how our stem looks a little bit like it's got a curve on it. So,
I'm not done yet.
He's not done yet. I think we could have felted our stem on a little tighter, done it a little bit longer. Finishing touches. Cute. Do you like it?
I don't like that spot.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a spot. You could just try to make it round there. I think it's okay. He's saying there's a little bit of a thin spot, and again, that's the major issue you're going to run into. But we could just put some wool right there and rub it again. In fact, we'll do that when the video is over and make it thick there. But I think it looks cute, and I think it kind of has its own.
That's a pumpkin. That's how you make a pumpkin. I thought you would make it round.
It's mostly round. It just has this.
I thought you just
Oh, fold it. No.
Then...
We could do it over a ball, and I might do a video for that. That's a little bit more work though. This is for like little kids.
No.
So here you go. This would make a nice cute placemat or just a toy. You could also frame this. I think that would be pretty cute. You could put the kid's handprint or just sign their name on when they made it for Thanksgiving 2019 or whatever. Yeah, pretty simple. You could do this with any project. Sky's the limit. You could make quite a few things with wet felting, and super easy that little kids could do it, right?
Mm-hmm. I could probably do this by myself.
You could do this by yourself. All right, you want to say bye? Thanks for watching.
Bye, thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.
This is Kenwood Farm.